Yellow.
GM
Slicer. Mike GM, Quindar GM, Agent Solace GM.
Dark Void.
Bull GM.
Busek. Bazek. Bazek.
What is this music? Is there music?
I love the music.
You need to disconnect it from the bottom.
Yeah, you have to mute it, but why would you do that when you have a banger playing, you know? Da 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 da.
GM Emperor, Zayna, PG. Best brew ever, PG.
Oh my god, it's the best brew ever.
It's the best brew ever. Katir, Duka Smash, Blocksmith, Mustachery, Tango Mike, the legend. Stickers. Swift, where's that star tag? I need to see that right now, Swift. Come on, man.
Ryan, my dude.
Brian, how was the time off, Brian? Ahota, the legend. So many legends today. Ready to learn more about C4? Brett, how are you feeling for today?
Excited. We got a ton of pre-questions, and I bet even more in the chat coming in soon.
Mm-hmm. We received like 25 plus questions from Foundation Room. When I posted it, the first hour or so, nobody posted anything, and I was like, "Oh man, they don't love us anymore." But then questions started flowing in, and now we have like more than 25. So we'll cover some of those, but we also will be reading the chat basically. So no need to worry. If questions come up, you can still post them in the chat. That's all right. So I think we can go to do some noteworthy news first. Dominic Bain, how do you feel about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's get started with something that is coming soon. Something that is coming soon that a lot of people will be interested in, which is Copa and Johnny Awards. So Copa and Johnny Awards are coming very soon, guys. So, okay, well, I don't know if they're trolling. I really don't know if they're trolling or not right now.
Yo, anyone can anyone hear Santi?
It's always like that. Neo, I don't believe anything. Brian is the first time that he does it to me, so. Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, now dude, you know what? You know this is an elite level troll when I don't even know this is true.
Dude, if you're trolling, you're doing really well. I'll even rejoin Dominic Bain. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, we got him, boys. We got him, boys. Good job out there. Oh my god. Hey, welcome back, man.
Okay, we start over. Welcome everyone to this Rattles Brew GM. If you got me, that was epic level trolling. I totally deserve that. Nah, I don't believe you, Mustache. I don't believe you anymore. But yeah, we were saying that we will go into noteworthy news first, and then we'll move to the Q&A with Brett. We have some questions prepared, but we will be also replying to questions in the chat. So the first thing in noteworthy news is that Copa and Johnny Awards are going to be happening. They're going to be happening soon. We don't have a date yet, but we will be opening up the forms likely this week for guilds and people to nominate. So guilds for Copa, as you know, you will have to make a presentation for what is that your guild has been doing in the last year, and then present in front of the Stratless judges to win that prize. So we'll be posting that form soon, so you guys can start working on the presentations. And then for Johnny Awards, the same. So everyone in the community can nominate who they want for the awards that will be there. So that's the first noteworthy news. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Should be exciting. Community week. Can we tell them something else, Dominic Bain, or is that all? Is that all that we can say right now?
I would go for it, bro. If you have something else, I'm down.
Oh man. Okay, so one more thing that we'll be doing during Community Week will be a challenge. A challenge where you guys will play against the Stratless team. We'll define who plays and what are the rules for qualifying. But if you're a guild, you may want to start assembling UE teams, because we'll be doing an event where you can come play against the Stratus team, and if you win, you will get some prizes. That's another event that will happen during Community Week. But I won't say anything else more than that. There are other things happening. So get ready. Get ready. Moving on from that, an event as well. We have the poker night, unofficial poker night. It's not an official Stratos event. Happening tomorrow. I think there is still time to register, if I am not wrong.
Yes.
I don't know if Nash is here in the chat, but I believe, Dom, maybe you know if there's time to register still.
Yeah. There's still time. I actually just linked the event announcement. He's gotten a couple questions like about the prize pool. There's a guarantee of 200,000 Atlas, and then for everyone above 10 people, so everything above 10 people, everything is going back into the prize pool. There's nothing that he's taking for himself. Literally everything that is input into that wallet goes back into that prize pool. And you guys also still have today to go sign up. So if you guys want to play in the poker night tomorrow around this time, then go do it. Go sign up. The instructions are in the event announcement I actually just put.
Yep. If you enjoy poker, you can go participate. Register now. Another event happening tomorrow, right before the poker night, actually, is the Lore Keepers. So if you're into lore, Jose has you covered. He will be sharing a bunch of lore alpha. It usually comes with more alpha than just lore, to be fair. I was there for the last one, and I was like, oh my god, the floodgates are opening here. So I highly recommend joining that one, especially if you're interested in lore. You may get some extra tidbits of other stuff as well. So mark us interested now. There in the chat, I posted the event, so you can mark us interested and get a ping when the lore keepers start. So yeah, make sure to register for that one as well. Mark us interested. And then, as always, we do the Gallia Games Night, and that's on Friday. So make sure to join this Friday as well. That should be a ton of fun. Like last time, I think, Dom, we had some content creators join. We posted it on X. So
Super fun, yeah. A lot of content creators joined from X, and they were posting some videos, and they were talking about how much fun it was. Man, we've recently had a bunch of people play. There was a content creator guild that was playing, and then Swag was playing with Neo Tokyo. That was we've seen a lot of people on X talk about how fun it was. So it was nice. It was really fun.
And it's all organic as well.
Yeah,
it's all fully organic. So people are playing Star Atlas with us because it's fun.
Just wait until they update in the summer. Just wait. It's gonna be crazy.
I agree. And then we have some sneak peeks, Dominic Bain.
Sir. If you guys go to the sneak peek channel right now, we recently have some new images of the Calico Ska looking damn sexy, if I may say. And then the Gatling gun. The Gatling gun is also there. So we're switching the model that you guys have seen for the Gatling gun, and then we're doing our own model. We do have temporary assets for some things, and of course we switch them out over time. And that is our Gatling gun now.
Now it makes more sense.
Yeah. We did the shotgun. Now we're doing the Gatling gun, And next we're doing the sniper. Actually, the sniper's looking. Whoo, the sniper's looking crazy. Sniper's looking really good.
When sneak peek.
Win. Here.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll show you. I'll show the people in the brew. Actually, if you're not in
Oh,
foundation.
you're
room.
showing? Ha. Nice. Screen share it if you can, so people on YouTube also see it.
Okay. All right. Then give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, Jindo, so clean, man. Looks like a movie poster, even.
All right. There we go. Okay. So here's the sniper as well. You guys see it?
Let's see.
This is a sneak peek at the sniper, one of the shots. And then I have one more that I'll show you guys.
This is, I'm sure Saka Lane from Coexis will be happy about this one. Good sniper.
And then here's the second shot of it. It's looking really good.
Ooh,
It's looking crazy.
looking good. Yes.
There's also another weapon that they're making, but I don't know if I can say it. I don't know if Chip will kill me. So.
Steady.
It's a lot happening behind the scenes, but yeah. For the people into the gunplay stuff, our summer update's gonna be wild. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. And we also have some updates from the DAO. Let's see if Emperor can come in.
Got it.
Hey,
Emperor?
Emperor, what's up, dude?
Hey, fellas. Yeah, thanks for having me up. I know it was kind of last minute. I don't have a lot to update, but wanted to get in front of everyone. As most people know, the media expansion passed, the write-in systems passed, the in-person community meetup did not pass, Theo passed. But one of the most important things I wanted to get out there that I don't know if people actually paid attention or not, but the Iris Bounty passed, and we actually have the application up. So if people want to do in-person meetups, fill out the application and send it to us. It's a pretty easy process. It just it goes to the council, and we have an expedited process to get people approved. So that's exciting. I'm curious to see who the first one's going to be, and I know there's been some chatter, but I know Santi and Dom, you guys can attest to meeting up IRL with some of these people at
Sure.
last year in Vegas. It was so fun being able to break bread with people, and there's just something special about it,
Absolutely. It makes a whole difference in the community experience and Star Atlas as a whole. Like, we chat a lot here, but when you're in person nerding out about Star Atlas and connecting it's just incredible. It's a complete different thing. So I posted the link in the chat. I think that is the right one, Emperor, where you guys can apply to host a meetup. And if you meet certain criteria, you can get funding for it.
Yeah, so please take advantage of that, guys. And then also, there are some PIP drafts that we're working on, but there are several ideas. Feel free to go in there and comment. Don't be afraid to comment. You're not going to get beat up. If you have an idea, just feedback to all these authors. It's not the easiest thing to do if you've never done stuff like this, if you've never filled out a grant application or anything like that. Just go in there and give feedback, because that's what the authors need. They need to get a temperature check. So, and then also our meetings on Saturdays. For me, there's Saturday at 2 p.m. Feel free to come by, listen in live. We do the council office hours. Those have been well attended. We wouldn't mind having some more FaceTime with people if you have actual questions. We don't bite, and there aren't any dumb questions. So that's all I had for now. Thanks for having me up, boys.
Thank you,
Appreciate you,
Emperor.
Emperor.
Love to hear that DAO is moving. It's moving, guys. It's moving. There are pips out there to vote for. You can host a meetup and get funding for it. And if you are working on something and you feel like getting some money for it to get started will be something you need, the council is there every day and also in person, quote unquote, on Saturdays. You can join them, and they will be helping you with that. So, yeah, don't hesitate to join the events and to chat. So, I think with that we cover all the noteworthy news. We probably missed something, but it was a lot. I think we can move to the main topic. Brett, are you ready? Do you have a glass of water next to you? Everything
Always.
okay? Nice. Okay, perfect. Before we get on the Q&A part, one thing that we also wanted to share is a little AI tool that was made by BB. You probably know BB. He's part of our mod team. So he put all the context of the different events that we hosted where we talked about C4. So all the events that have C4 information, basically, and put it on an AI where you can ask questions and get pretty good replies. Right, Brett?
Yeah, it's crazy accurate. It's not perfect, but it's crazy accurate on a lot of this. And it's got even a podcast. It's crazy.
Yes. Dom, can we show it on screen really quick?
Yeah.
It's loading. There we go. Yeah.
You want me to
So-
play the podcast?
I'm curious to hear it. Sure.
It's a 27-minute podcast that goes into
Yeah,
details.
sit back, relax. No, I'm just kidding.
Like 27 minutes.
There's also that mind map on the right. You see that there? Underneath the podcast area.
The which one?
Further down, it says Star Atlas Town Hall and Economic Forum Summary. Click
Oh,
on
yeah.
that. Go like C4 update, and it builds out a full mind map of all the details, and you can go deep into some of those things. It's crazy.
So crazy.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Anyone can access this tool right now and ask any C4 questions if you want. It will give you really detailed replies, and most of them are accurate. Of course, not all of them are accurate. It may make mistakes, but for the most part, it is actually pretty accurate. So, highly recommend checking that out. I'll
This is
post the link
incredible.
again.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Yep.
You only need a Google account, and you're in, basically. So, yeah. Go check it out, and we will also be feeding it. Well, BV. Shout out to BV as well. Shout out to BV, legend. And we will also be feeding it with this brew information as well. So it will be updated with all the C4 information and all the replays that we get from Brett. So
It'll know about itself.
yes. Then we can just tell it, please build C4.
Exactly.
Don't make mistakes.
Don't make mistakes.
Secret.
Yes. So Brett, you ready, man? We can get started with the Q&A.
Yeah, I'm ready. You can
Perfect.
start having some questions rolling in the chat, but I'll kick it off with some of the ones we got in the foundation room to chat
Yeah.
about today.
I can ask them if you want.
Yeah, you want to start out at the top and we can
Mm-hmm.
alternate?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so just for context, we have a couple pre-prepared questions that came from Foundation Room. And then we will also be taking questions from the chat. So if anything comes to your mind and you want to ask it, feel free. We'll be reading the chat as well. But just to get started here, I think we have some questions about crafting hubs first, Brett. So, crafting hubs, are they a benefit that come from the faction housing hubs, tier 1 to tier 5?
So seeing this question actually kicked off another discussion. Currently the CSS land is kind of a mess right now in the marketplace. What was sold was basically a combination of the land and the HAB asset. I'm putting together a proposal that will work on getting approved and all of that, of how we will actually distribute these assets. But basically, it's going to be that CSS land that we've sold, and eventually, but the idea is not the land itself. It's going to be the HAB that's on the land that you would then take to a starbase, place on the starbase to build up your crafting hab.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk more about that once I get the actual proposal filtered through everybody and figure out how the real splitting of that is going to happen and what the actual assets are going to be.
Okay, cool. So there's a little follow up. I think you kind of replied to it already, but it says crafting halves function a lot like claim stakes. Claim stakes we can buy, but crafting halves have to be constructed on a starbase. Will we be able to move a constructed crafting hub to a different starbase? Will we be able to use our CSS hub that we did buy on a starbase to function as a crafting hub?
Yeah, so it's going to be the CSS hab, and as Wagner has clarified in the chat there, we sold the land. The land receives a bunch of bonus items, including the hab itself. We just haven't distributed that yet. So we'll get that distributed. We'll figure out how that's going to happen. It'll be totally fair there. But yeah, so you do need that hab asset to place crafting habs at a starbase. There's not constructing another way. It's just you need that hab asset.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. We keep moving in the questions that we have, but if you have any questions, of course, post them in the chat. We'll be reading as well. There's a question about regions. So it says, can you clarify the discussion around regions being polygons versus blobs? What exactly will we see in C4? In the town hall, you mentioned that we could go behind enemy lines and harass their supply routes. What did you mean by that? Can I attack enemy fleets in the void zones between regions?
Yeah, so I'll pull up our diagram again, just so we have something to reference here. Hopefully everybody can see that. But basically, so if there are void areas between regions or on the edges of the map, that's defined as neutral MRZ territory. MRZ territory just means it's neutral, means anybody can go there, anybody can shoot, any actions can take place. So if there are any void zones, there may not be void zones. We're still working on the math, so they may just be pressed up right against each other, in which case there wouldn't be any void region in between. When I talked about being able to go behind and attack somebody at the back end, you can see this arrow here. It's going to the back of a region that is a border region. So the regions, going over this a little bit again, there's border regions and safe regions. A border region is one that neighbors a region that you do not own, or that has a starbase inside of it that's owned by an opposing faction. So on a border region, you can go into the back of the border region and attack. You can't go into the safe region that's behind it or anything like that. Safe regions just cannot be accessed or attacked into by opposing factions. So you need to take over or make the region neutral that is neighboring that safe region, and then it will become a border region, right? So that's the way you push through.
That makes sense. I imagine like everyone trying to pick up their supply chains and fix them when a region is about to become neutral.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And then on the blobs versus polygons, the way it will be defined on chain is everything will be what's called polyline. It's basically a list of points that each point is connected to the next one, and that defines the polygon of the region. It's not going to be like this picture here, where there's a whole bunch of squares everywhere, and like it's square regions. It's going to be straight lines. There may be openings in there. We can't have too many lines just because of blockchain compute limitations. We have to, every time we calculate if you're in a region, we have to basically run a math calculation on every single edge. So we'll run all of that separate. that will be done beforehand. We'll give you a proper map. We just haven't gotten that far yet.
Makes sense. There's a question related to the map. I think we clarified this at the town hall, but I will ask it. It's from Dark Void. He's saying, some time ago you mentioned that we will now have the points of the systems. Will they continue to be 2D coordinates, or will we have X, Y, and Z coordinates?
So the map is going to continue to be 2D. It's not going to have a Z coordinate. If you look at basically, if you look at in the real world galaxies, I'm a space nerd. So if you look at the galaxy, it tends to be relatively flat across everything, especially at the density we're looking at. There won't be too much variation in the Z. There would of course be a bit. If you look at a game like Stellaris, they have the systems. It's on a 2D map, but the systems may be raised or lowered below. We're just not going to simulate that. In this case, it simplifies it both from a UI perspective and from a cognitive perspective. There was a game I played a long time ago that had a full 3D map, and that was complex to say the least to try to keep in your head. So we're just going to keep it 2D for now, though there may be eventually we may add some Z level, minimal Z levels there as well, but not in C4.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Brian is asking, are you going to put any graphics in to differentiate between border regions and non-border regions?
Yeah, we've got a few proposals of how to do that. Whether it's safe regions are solid, let's say Oni, for example, because Brian. So safe regions would be solid blue, while border regions would be outlined blue, and then neutral regions would be outlined gray, something like that. We've got a few proposals of how to do that, and we'll see how the art team actually comes up with wanting to do that. But it'll be communicated, and you'll be able to see it from. It's something you'll be able to see the state of the galaxy from further out. That's part of the intention of the region system, is that you can see this broad state, right? So it'll definitely be communicated at that top level, and then you'll be able to zoom in and see okay, I want to actually see the state of the region itself and see which star bases are taken over, which ones aren't, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Zaina, I see you in the chat asking a question about the colors. The colors in the picture that you're showing, Brett, doesn't mean anything right now, just that they are different regions.
Yeah, it's just different regions. This is a dev tool. The ownership is all going to be derived from actual player actions. It's not going to be predefined, except for in the lower zone. I did see another question on the lower zone as well. The lower zone is defined as regions that are always safe for a given faction. So that's just the lower zone definition. So that there'll be 4 or 5 per faction that are regions that are lower zone there.
Makes sense.
Cool. Any questions on the map? Or put this away.
Let's see if there are any more questions in the chat about the map. In the questions that we got before, I'm checking if there are any map related questions.
I don't think there are. Okay.
No, there are not. Okay, we can ask one about claim stakes that we have here. We know different planet types require different buildings to be constructed within a claim stake. We haven't really heard if the claim stake itself can be placed on any planet type, or if there are strings attached to this, or some kind of conversion we need to go through before we can put a claim stake on. For example, before we can put a claim stake on, for example, a gas giant.
So claim stakes are universal across all types of planets and everything. But when you place it down, it may be placed down as a different type. Like if you place a claim stake in the ocean on an ocean planet, it'll have the oceanic tag, and the buildings will be different. But the claim stake itself will be placeable on any location. So a claim stake tier 1, it works on any planet in a tier 1 slot, right? They're just universal machines that you can put down on the ground.
Okay. And can you rent the building slots on the claim stakes?
We have no rentals, anything involved with claim stakes right now. The only rental involvement would be fleets, you renting fleets to pick up from your own claim stake. But no renting of claim stakes or slots or anything like that.
Okay. Then another for claim stakes. Do they do anything without having additional buildings on it? Is there also any benefit of putting more than one claim stake on a planet?
Yeah, so I'll start backwards there. More than one claim stake on a planet, you have 2 claim stakes on that given planet. You get double the production if you build them the same. Basically, they're separate entities, so you have to pick up from both individually. But yeah, you just get double the amount of claim stake on a planet, right? Where it's not like adding a claim stake to a planet gives you like globally more space, and there's like one claim stake per planet that you're adding space to. It's each claim stake is its own individual unit that you plop down. And what was the first part of that one?
And the first part of that one is, do they do anything without having an additional building on it?
So that's more of a design question that would go to Danny. But they've been playing around with whether or not the initial claim stake will do like minor things at the beginning, or whether you do have to put down a building first. So TBD, basically.
Okay. There's a good question from Neo, actually. Can I use a construction of a higher tier? So can I use a building of a higher tier than the tier of my claim stake? For example, I have a tier 1 claim stake and I want to use a tier 3 mining drill. Can I do that, or do I need to have a tier 3 claim stake to be able to do that?
So it again, that's another design question. It depends on what they define the tier 3 mining drill, like that building definition, what they define as the minimum tier of claim stake. They may define it as like, okay, you can put a tier 3 on a tier 2 and it just takes up a ton of slots. So it's really a design question of how they're going. I'm not sure where they'll end up on that. But I think there's another core thing there of, you're not going to be creating individual building tokens. So you're not going to be making a tier 3 mining drill token. What you're going to be deciding on is, I'm going to build a tier 3 mining drill on this claim stake, and that costs a certain amount of resources to put that down. So like, let's say it takes a tier 1 drill takes 100 iron and 100 copper or something like that. So you'd be choosing on the claim stake, I'm going to put this building down. I'm going to put 10 of these, so I need 1,000 iron and 1,000 copper, right? So that's the decision matrix you're going to be making. We're not making an individual token for every building. There'd be just too many tokens and a lot more tokens floating around. It'll be the individual resources. There will also be, when you deconstruct it, you'll get slightly less tokens than you spent to build it. So there's some bit of burn there for when you deconstruct your claim stake buildings.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can I craft the buildings, or will we need to buy them?
Yeah, so that they are built by the resources, right? So there's not a building token to craft, there's not a building token to buy. It's the resources in the game. A building costs 100 iron. So you'll need 100 iron to put that building down. When you take the building off, you get back 90 iron or something like that.
Ah, that's very interesting, actually. Okay. Very cool.
Where the claim stake building stored, I see Brian ask. It's all on chain, and Starframe is just the framework we're using to build our programs. So it's not like Starframe is not a separate entity. It's just a framework to build the program. So everything is still on chain here.
Okay. Let's see claim stake questions. Well, I think this one we replied, but it's always good to clarify. If a claim stake is in a region that is taken over by another faction, what happens to it? And what about the buildings on it?
So region specifically, a region being taken over doesn't kick you out. So the only thing that would kick you out is getting the starbase taken over for the system. That will reduce the number of slots down to when it flips to their faction. That will kick you out. You'll lose all your buildings, and your claim stake will respawn. So same thing will happen if your claim stake or the starbase down levels, and there's not enough slots for you, and you're one of the last few people to get on the planet. If there's not enough slots, you will get evicted. Your claim stake will respawn, and your buildings will be destroyed, and you'll lose the tokens involved with them. So you do need to be careful about, okay, my starbase is about to be taken over, but region ownership doesn't kick your claim stake out. Region ownership is only for making other regions safe. And if there's a starbase that is owned by your faction in someone else's region that they own, it can't be safe by definition. So there's no way for you to have a claim stake that you own in someone else's safe region that you can't access.
That's actually something that you guys will need to take into account. Like, imagine if the region is taken over, but you still have the starbase. Get ready to fly out of there, evacuate.
Yeah, they're going to come try to blow you out so they can make their region safe.
Very likely, yes. Brian is asking a good question. How fast can you deconstruct and evacuate?
That's another design thing. They can decide on that, but larger claim stakes are going to take larger amounts of time. It's additive. So if you're deconstructing 10 buildings, it's going to take 10 times as long as one building on a given claim stake. But if you have like 100 claim stakes, each one is doing that in parallel, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just to clarify, Neo is asking the question. So it is possible for a region to change control without the starbase being destroyed in the process.
Yeah, so the definition of region control is owning all of the core systems. So you could own a system that's not core, and then another faction owns all the core systems. They own the region, but you still have a starbase, so the region is not safe. It's fully accessible by you. You can still go and fly over there.
Okay. Okay. Does the opposing faction get any of the resources when they take over, or are they all destroyed?
It's all burned, all destroyed. So there's the only looting is when ships being blown up and their cargo bay gets lootable. So you can take their cargo. But there are ships, so claim stakes do require ships to be picking up and picking up resources that they mine and then delivering resources that they need to fuel them, right? So there are ships flying back and forth between these that you can be attacking and taking their cargo. So you can be raiding people's claim stakes in border regions.
Very cool. And can you use your crew to increase or decrease building or deconstruction speed?
Crew won't affect that. It's a stat on the building. That's we've talked about that as a possibility of change that may occur over the course of the PTR. But currently, no. It's just a flat construction deconstruction speed.
Okay. Okay. Let's say Dark Void is saying it had previously been said that claim stake could be upgraded, but now they won't be upgraded. You won't be able to upgrade them. Any reason why those changes were made?
That's a Wagner question. That's up to econ and how they're deciding to design out the economy there.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. Question from Brutus. So existing flat pack drills, power, and etc. are just to require materials and some kind of instant deployment?
So the drills will be basically the drill tokens and the generator tokens and the upgrade kits. Those are all going to have specific recipes to convert them into the equivalents of resources for the building. So there'll be instant crafts of just like, hey, we communicated that this drill could supply half of a tier 1 claim stake, for example. I'm not sure exactly what we communicated there, but whatever we did, it'll be enough buildings to build half of a tier 1 claim stake with drills, right? So that's how all of that will come together. It won't. Basically, those tokens are going to be no longer usable. We're going to swap them out for the equivalents and resources. They'll be taken off the market, that sort of thing. But they're still going to maintain the usability that we communicated when we first launched those tokens.
Okay. One more question from the ones that we received earlier on claim stakes. How are resources of a claim stake moved away from it? For example, does a fleet dock with the claim stake?
So an action that your fleet can take is to land on the claim stake, pick up and deliver a certain amount of resources. So you choose to do that. Each fleet will have a loading rate, which will is the rate they can load and unload resources. So they'll unload their cargo on the claim stake, load up the cargo they're picking up from the claim stake, and then take off again. So that fleet, so you'll need your ships to go pick up and deliver resources to and from your claim stake. So that's how you actually pick them up. They'll be vulnerable during that time. They can be attacked if they're not in a safe region, right? So there's some bit there that you do need to protect them as they're flying between the starbase and the claim stake. But yeah, while they're on the land of the claim stake, they have a loading and unloading rate, so it's going to take some time depending on how much they're picking up and how large of ships. It's like cargo ships will probably have higher loading and unloading rates versus like a fighter ship, right? So lots of different capabilities there and specializations of ships you can use.
And there's a follow-up to that. Yeah, what determines fleet loading rate.
Yeah, it's a new ship stat that will be coming out with C4. So ships
Ha.
will have that stat.
That's a good one. Yes. Good question from Brian. How does the Starbase and Claimstake movement work? Do they actually move, or are they sitting in the same space, loading and unloading?
So I'll take it as two ways because I think there's two ways to look at that. So how do you move claim stakes? Claim stakes are just pieces of cargo, basically. They'll be carryable by ships, and they're delivered to the starbase. Then when they're at the starbase, you can choose to deploy the claim stake on a planet from the starbase inventory. Moving between the planet and the starbase with your fleets. So on the map, a system is defined as a singular point rather than as a like area. There's not like a planet doesn't have a location on the map and the star has a location on the map. A system is a point on the map. Part of that it's because like if you look at the real world, a star system is like 1/4 the area of the full galaxy, right? So it's basically a point. So we just treat it as a point. And there eventually there will be a system map. So that'll be like a sub map level, like think Super Mario World, where you jump in, like you have the world map and then you jump into a level, right? That'll be kind of the idea here. We just don't have that level part yet. So the planets and starbases are co-located. So you'll be able to. So when your fleet's in that system, they're at that exact point, and then they can instantly like go to okay, I'm going to pick up from the planet, take some time on the planet, and then instantly travel back to the starbase, right at the same location. So I think that communicates all of that.
Okay. They're asking also about the utility for the mining drill upgrade bundles.
Yeah, so those upgrade bundles are just like the buildings. They're going to be basically the idea is that a mining drill plus a tier 2 upgrade bundle will be like both of those will be crafted into enough resources for effectively a tier 2 claim stake worth of resources, and then add in the tier 3 bundle, and now that's enough for a tier 3 worth of resources. Each one will have an individual recipe to convert that into the equivalence of resources. So they'll keep their utility that we said. It's just we changed out how that utility works, so we're going to be converting them in a crafting recipe to the resources that we now use.
Perfect. So same utility, just you'll need to convert it. Let's see. I think we can move from claim stakes just to not spend the whole brew on claim stakes. I saw a question related to the map. Let me find it again from Zelex. It is quite specific. I don't know if you have the answer, Brett, but he's asking about the Ustur faction. So more specifically, he's saying Ustur 16, from what we can see, seems to be a new base based on location and seems like the only new 21 system base on the map. That's a big mismatch for the Ustur faction, assuming the existing ones by other factions can be built to tier 5 before C4 launches. I'm guessing he's also referring to the map that we shared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a design question, but generally, like there are some new regions that are going to be added. There's 69 regions now, so there's more regions than we have systems in current stage. So not everything is available to be upgraded in current stage, right? So there are going to be some new ones. It's also going to be split relatively evenly between all the factions. So like just spacing wise and all of that, Danny has a ton of different figures that he's using to make sure that everything is relatively even across the factions while still having faction diversity, right? So still all of that is there. And then the other nice part is in C4 now we can much more easily move systems around if it turns out, hey, this system needs to be slightly closer, right? We have a granular scale we can do that on rather than having to like move just a whole chunk over or things like that. Like we'll be able to do a lot more fine adjustments over the course of the PTR as well to make sure the map feels good.
Yeah, that PTR is going to be fun. Lots of feedback will come in, Brett. Are you ready for that?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Any other map related questions or movement or something like that before we move to a different I think this is kind of map related. How many claim stakes can be placed in sectors?
Yeah. So to be clear, sectors are the old name. That was the old squares. Systems are the new thing that are the points in space. We're trying to differentiate that. But how many claim stakes can be placed in systems? So the amount of claim stakes that we placed is based on the planets. So there's planets within a system. Claim stakes are placed on a planet. Crafting cabs as well. They're placed on the starbase. Every planet has a table basically that says what tier of claim stake and then how what level of starbase, and then that says how many slots are on that planet. Same thing with the starbase. What tier of crafting cab, what level of starbase, how many slots are available. So it depends on the system. It depends on the planet you're trying to go for. Each planet will have different richnesses. You'll have to analyze the map once the map is fully released to really find out like how many you can place across everywhere. It's a global limit, so right. So there is a limit per planet of everybody that can be on there. So there is a first come first serve, right? If you get the first few slots as well, the later slots are the ones that get evicted first when the starbase down levels. So it's better to have a lower number slot. So longer term there. The rent is also different per planet, so there's a lot to evaluate there. The rent has a table as well. There's also a placement fee for the initial placement, basically, so you don't just like spam the slot and cause a griefing issue. So that's different per planet, per starbase level, per tier, right? So there's going to be a lot to evaluate there. There's a lot of numbers involved.
Get those spreadsheets ready, guys.
Yeah, and another question here on the zerging out to the best places. Well, if there's a really good place, upgrade the starbase. Suddenly, more spots open. So,
Uh-huh.
and I believe they're also playing around with some higher tier claim stakes. May not even have slots on planets until you get to a high enough starbase level. So, and that may be different across the galaxy. So you got to really evaluate current situation and everything.
And coordinate with your guildmates and faction fellas. So, yeah, there's one question about traveling speed. So, Larry Norris asking traveling speed. It said it will be adjusted. How far into adjustment? Are we seeing things finally taking much longer to reach to make combat more tactical?
That's another Danny question. It's slowing down. I'm not sure exactly how much. That's another thing we're also going to be testing in the PTR to see have we got the right amount. Does it feel good? It's also something that will probably adjust with player numbers as more players come in and the galaxy becomes denser. We probably want to slow it down to like basically give more space in the galaxy, right? So with less players, you need a bit more speed so you can get back to interactions with other players, right? With as more players come in, you slow it down, bring it becomes less of hey, I can reach 100,000 people in the same time as in like a minute versus okay, we slow it down, now you can only reach 1,000 in a minute, right? Like there's very different scales there. So we'll be testing that out with the PTR and seeing how it goes, but it'll be slower than it is now.
Nice. We'll perfect it during the PTR. So you guys better test that out. I'm sure you will, though. When PTR? No, I'm joking, Brett.
Wagner's here. I see him in the. So
No,
can't say anything.
That's a Michael question. He only has the key for that one.
You shouldn't say things like that, Michael. I might.
Yeah, lick it. Don't. Okay, let's see. I think there was a question. Celex is asking a question. We replied to this one, but good to clarify. Is a system only accessible via star path? Meaning, if there is only one star path to it, then the previous base needs to be taken first?
No, so star paths are only activated if you own both ends. So you can't get to a system unless you own that system as well. Like you have to own both sides of the star path to be able to use it to get there fast. Otherwise, you have to warp and subwarp over there. So warp and subwarp are still movement types. We just adding in the warp lane movement. I think we're officially calling them warp lanes now, not star paths. I don't, I don't know the official name now. They're warp lanes everywhere in my docs.
Warp lanes.
Yep, warp lane movement. So you got warp lane movement that just costs Atlas, no fuel, right? But you have to own both ends. So it's a good way of getting fast across the galaxy through your own space. Then you have subwarp and warp. That's same methods we have now. We're just adding the only difference on those is that warp is going to have a little bit of a spool time where you can still be attacked. It'll spool up and then you jump and then you arrive and then it'll cool down just like normal. And then subwarp same exact thing. Just you can be attacked while you're in subwarp. You can't be attacked while you're in warp. So
Interesting. So you cannot be attacked when doing a warp lane?
yeah, warp lane. You can't be attacked while in warp lane, and there's no spool time. So warp lane is very good to get across the galaxy fast.
Yes, there will be a lot of tactical usage of those.
Those are the beachheads you want when you're attacking someone else's region. You want to take the spot that has a warp lane attached to it, so you can get your ships back in the fight really fast and get your supplies in there. Right. It's a safe path for your supplies versus they can be raiding your supplies while you don't have a beachhead. That's also where you want to be protecting. Right. You don't want them to get a beachhead in your region. So lots of tactical stuff going in there.
Yes. Question about the PTR. Will we have a similar start to Holosim, like identical starting points and assets?
It's going to be a lot looser than Holosim. Holosim has like a progression path and everything, but PTR is really meant as a test, right? So if you look at like World of Warcraft PTRs, you can level to whatever level you want because they want to test it, like let you test different leveling areas, and like, oh, you don't want to have to like get through all the way to level 50 before you test like the real content at level 50 in WoW, right? For this, you're going to have access to whatever ships you want to try out, test things. Like you can, oh, I want to make an account that has that starts out with 10 small ships and see how that goes. Now I want to try out a Titan. Now I want to try out this, right? Like, so PTR is going to be much more open than Holosim. Holosim has a progression path versus PTR will just be try stuff out, tell us what breaks, tell us what feels good, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's following up with, do we use our assets? So I guess the reply will be, if you want.
Yeah, you can get your own assets and see how you would play, which is probably a good strategic option. But you won't be required to.
Cool. We're going through a lot of questions, Brad. I'll let you take a sip of water.
Yeah, I actually do need
combat. There are questions on combat on the ones that we got earlier. And one question about combat is, will the loot that is dropped after a battle include ship components or the materials that were used to craft them?
So right now, the components are completely burned. We're going to be testing that out in the PTR. We have options for making that not the case. So we're going to see how that feels, but we're going to start out with just having all the components gone. The only thing you're looting is the cargo hold. But we'll see how that goes.
Nice. Let's see another one. Will combat be only 1 versus 1, or can I have help from friends, like 1 versus 3?
Yeah, so combat is not there's not like a combat instance that you jump into and it's like 1v1 and then a winner is decided. Combat is basically what's in Holosim, where you do an attack, you both shoot at each other once, and then it stops, right? So you can have 3 ships attacking 1 ship, then they're all going to shoot at each other, right? And so like your 3 ships, I attack with 1 ship on this guy, the next ship attacks the same guy, next ship attacks the same guy. That the guy you're attacking, he shoots back at all of them as well. And you do that over and over. If that's what you want to do, you attack 3 or 4 times. Someone blows up, and then that will stop the attacks, or someone escapes, or someone stops attacking. Like each attack is basically a singular transaction that you're running. So it's more like you're doing you have to do a click to attack basically. So that will be up to you guys how that goes out. But every time there's an attack happens, no ships could blow up, 1 ship could blow up, both ships could blow up. Like it really depends on what the damage output is.
Nice. There's a question on combat and starbases. Will the bomber ships have any buffs for attacking a starbase?
Yeah, another design question. It's possible there, and I do know that they're trying to give every like ship type. Starting out now, every ship type will have its use case, and that makes a lot of sense for a bomber use case, right? There's also possibilities that it has like a bomber is very effective against larger ships. Like they're playing around a lot with the combat equation. That's one of the biggest areas of flux, basically. That's a lot of change happening there. So we're going to be testing out a lot of different versions of that in the BTR. So yeah, we'll see how all that goes, but definitely I know that they're trying to make every ship have its specialization and usable. in that specialization.
That would be fantastic. Yes, every ship type utility to game changer. And by the way, if you guys are curious about combat now, you can get in Holosim and play there. And especially if you join Oni, I know that we're kind of struggling a little bit out there. So get into Holosim and join Oni right now. We need help.
Is that a
But
plea I hear from the Onis?
yes, yes. Any Oni that goes to MRC gets destroyed right now almost. I know that Emperor and NDR are playing there, but yeah, we need more Onis. And question, is it still last hit for LP and loot mechanics for combat in C4?
Yeah, that's what we're going to be rolling the PTR with, is having last hit on loot and last hit on LP. Loot probably won't change over the course of PTR. LP could, depends on how it feels. If it's a complicated thing to do anything other than last hit on chain. So like we really have to get it right. But if it's perfectly fine to have last hit and it turns out not to be an issue, then there's no need for us to spend a bunch of time fixing that, right? So we're going to try that out first. If it turns out okay, this doesn't feel good, it's not good enough, then we'll swap it out.
Yeah, I can only imagine like how you can do all those calculations on like who had the most damage
And
when
then take into account repairs and like,
uh-huh.
oh geez, like there's a bunch
Yeah.
of question marks there.
In Atomic Combat. Yeah. Good luck, Brett. Any other questions on combat? Let's see the chat. I think I have some here. Okay, there's a question that is we just replied, but it says, "Player, how will LPA be awarded in this scenario? Player A attacks a Starbase with their Titan and reduces its health by 99%. Then player B attacks with their air bike and destroys it, the last 1%. Who receives the LP?"
So Starbase LP is still being worked on. When it's ship to ship, it's last hit. Starbase is going to be slightly more complicated. So we're going to work on that. We haven't gotten a final solution for it yet. So TBD there.
Okay. Question on combat looting. What happens when a fighter with 10k cargo defeats a fighter with 50k cargo? Can the fighter only claim the 10k max of its capacity or claim a box and redeem it at the base?
So what happens is the cargo is dropped in space on the map. So the cargo, all 50k cargo, gets dropped there. And then, since you're the last hitter in the combat, you get a certain exclusivity period, which is adjustable. I think they're hovering around an hour about right now, but that's of course subject to change. So you'll have an exclusivity period where any of your ships is allowed to pick up from that cargo box. You could have that fighter going back and forth, picking stuff up. The risk there, though, if you do pick it up, it forces your ship to reload. So if your fighter, you blow someone up and then you go pick up the loot, that fighter is then reloading and can't. It won't be able to defend itself if it gets attacked again. So you've got to take that into account. Salvage ships are also much more better at this, right? Like they're going to be able to pick up more of the loot and less will be burned because they're salvage ships. So that's their use there. If you don't pick it up within your exclusivity period, then that cargo loot box becomes open to anybody. So there may be just a bunch of cargo loot boxes everywhere that like people that are doing combat don't really care about the loot. They're just trying to fight their way through to the starbase, and then there are a bunch of scavengers on the side waiting for those exclusivity periods to end and go pick up the loot. That's totally valid too. So
Anyone looking for a scavenger career, huh? That will be interesting to see. What's the salvage ship pickup loot? Don't recall this. I think it's like a buff.
yeah, whatever the salvage ship type is, I think like a D9 is considered a salvage ship. So yeah, it'll be an action that your ship can take to pick up the loot. And the question here specifically is if you don't have enough cargo space to pick up all the loot in the loot box, right? You pick up a portion of it, You can come back and pick up more, come back and pick up more, or if you don't pick it up in the exclusivity time, then anybody can pick it up and try to pick all of that up.
Cool. We're 1 minute over the 1 hour mark. We can take one more, Brett, I think. What if we let someone come on stage? Anyone wants to raise their hands and ask a question? Let's see.
Anyone brave enough?
Anyone brave enough to come to stage and ask the last question? We have
Hola.
Zaina. Hola, hola.
So I was curious, like with like repair and refuel ships, when that repair and refuel utility will come into play.
So the refuel part won't be coming into play in C4 here, but the repair part will be. So a repair ship will be able to repair star bases. That's the only way to repair a star base, and they'll also be able to repair fleets in space. Right. The only other option for repairing your fleets would be for them to dock at the star base and be out of action while they're being repaired, versus a repair ship can repair them while they're in situ, basically. So repair ships will be getting their utility now. The refuel part, not so much. We're just not doing the refuel part yet.
Is there a future where the repairs will be repairing other ships while in combat?
Yeah,
Out in space?
that can
Okay.
that can happen. If you repair somebody, your fleet starts reloading. So you probably don't want to do that with your main combat fleet to repair somebody else, but
Yep.
you may have this repair line in the back that's repairing the frontline combat ships. Totally valid.
That's all I got. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you. Brave enough to join the stage.
And one final question there. Repair while being part of the fleet. It's going to be a fleet level action, so you'll probably need a repair fleet and a combat fleet rather than having repair ships mixed in inside of a combat fleet.
Okay, so 2 different fleets. Better than having it inside a combat fleet. Or would it not work at all?
You can have it inside the combat fleet. It just be when you choose to repair with it, it makes your entire combat fleet reload. So it's very inoptimal to do that. And you couldn't repair yourself. You can only repair others.
Makes sense. Yeah, you don't want that to be destroyed. Okay, I see Larinor typing a question. Larinor, I'll give you 5 seconds. Type. I think we already replied to that one, Larinor, but I'll ask it. You mentioned things being a single point in a system. So to transport things from a claim to a base, will ships need to move?
It'll just be the load and unload time to redock. So it's just you land on the planet, deploy stuff, pick stuff up, fly back up. So
Okay. Cool. All right. I think we can close here, Brett. That was intense Q&A. So there's a lot of information to be digested, and we'll have the AI ready with that info as well. So next week, I think we'll give you a break from the brews, Brett. But we really appreciate you joining 3 weeks in a row. I think we have already a lot of information to theory craft. Probably next week we can get some people from the community to come on stage, and we can discuss what's the best approach to be ready for C4, what people should take into account. So if anyone would like to join, maybe we do that next brew. But thank you so much, Brett, for joining. W's in the chat for Brett. 3 weeks in a row, joining the community to reply to questions. He replied to literally everything that came in from the audience. So thank you, Brett.
And I'm also watching Foundation Room. So if you have a question and you have that Foundation Room access, ask it in there, or ask somebody you know that has Foundation Room access. Happy to answer questions in there. So
yes, perfect. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Remember that tomorrow there is the Lore Keepers and the Poker Night. So make sure to to mark us interested at the top of the server if you want to participate in any of those. So, all right. Thank you so much. And we'll see you tomorrow at the Poker Night and Lore Keepers, Friday at the Galia Game Night, and then next Wednesday. So, thanks, everyone. And yeah, if someone wants to spin up a search server, I'm in. Someone spin up a search server right now in the UE5 client. Thanks, everyone. See you in game. Bye-bye.